Well, howdy there, Internet people, it's Belle again. So today, we're going to talk about the Fed adjusting to Trump's economy. I know there's a lot going on right now, but we're trying to cover the things that aren't being adequately covered. The Federal Reserve met, and it lowered interest rates by 1/4 point and indicated more might be on the way. Federal Reserve Chair Powell explained the cut as a risk management cut. He pointed to a weakening job market and higher inflation. For the labor market, he said, quote, "The labor market is softening, and we don't need it to soften anymore." When talking about the inflationary pressures, he said, quote, "We do expect them to continue to build over the course of the rest of the year and into next year." A clear summary of the economic state of the country came from Powell. Quote, "Job gains have slowed and downside risks to employment have risen. At the same time, inflation has risen recently and remains somewhat elevated. In support of our goals and in light of the shift in the balance of risks, today the Federal Open Market Committee decided to lower our policy interest rate by 1/4 percentage point. We also decided to continue to reduce our securities holdings." He then went on to talk about the slowing economic activity, but he used the term moderate. Then said, quote, "GDP rose at a pace of around 1.5% in the first half of the year, down from 2.5% last year." So, the short version is that the stage is still set for potential stagflation. The long version is that video from a while back saying the Fed will cut rates because Trump broke the job market, and that will become the bigger risk. That's what happened. Beyond that, consumer spending is down. The housing market is weak. Outside of the Federal Reserve meeting, there's some other data worth going over. Consumer sentiment of those people making more than $100,000 per year is falling. That's troubling in particular because more than usual lately, the wealthy have been powering the economy's spending. For the first time in 30 years, foreign central banks are holding more gold than U.S. Treasuries. According to a tracker for landlords, more people are paying their rent late this year. Another less than ideal sign is that Google searches for help with mortgage have reached the levels of the 2008 crash. There's a possibility that this may be more people looking for help with obtaining a mortgage, though. Back to the Federal Reserve meeting. Trump's economic advisor, who is now also at the Fed, Stephen Myron, dissented from that decision and pushed for a larger cut. He was the sole dissenter. Maybe he really thought that was the right move, but this is going to reinforce the perception that the Fed is being politicized. That's something that Fed Reserve Chair Powell commented on, explaining what to look for if the Fed loses its independence. Quote, "It's deeply in our culture to do our work based on the incoming data and never consider anything else. Everybody who's been at the Fed feels really strongly about that. You'll know it by the way we talk about what we're doing, by the speeches that people give, by the decisions that we make." There's a lot going on right now, but the economic situation is getting more and more precarious. We're going to have to keep an eye on the barking dogs pretty frequently. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.